Here.
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 Do we have any conflict of interest statements?
No.
No.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of May 10th and May 17th, 2018.
I motion to approve the minutes from May 10th and May 17th.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item A, correspondence received from Antia Group requesting permission to divert traffic as needed during groundwater testing at Roxana Drive and White Oak Avenue, Wednesday, June 13th through June 15th, 2018. Looks like this has been reviewed by the engineering department. Yes. We're okay with that? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item B, correspondence received from Marathon Pipeline advising that a right-of-way assessment walking survey will be conducted beginning May 21st and ending in late June 2018. Any issue with that?
They don't know the limits of the project. I'm sorry. This happens every year. They literally just walk the pipeline inspecting it. There's no disturbance, they're just literally inspecting the land above it. So they just wanted to give us a heads up.
Okay. Do we need action on that, Chris?
I would just make note
Notification.
that we received it. the request.
Okay. All right. Item C, proposal for geotech exploration services received from ATC Group Services for geotechnical exploration services for the proposed Mayor's Trail at a cost of $6,450. And do we have a funding source on this?
I was just going to mention, we would ask that you approve this contingent upon receiving the funding request. I don't have that paperwork ready for you at this time, so we will hold off until you get a funding request. But if you could approve it contingent upon that, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Do we have such a motion?
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item D, correspondence received from Mr. Dean Button, City Engineer, advising the Engineering Department does not support the request to make the alley at Lincoln Avenue one-way.
This come up last week.
This was from a previous
Last meeting.
meeting? Okay. And was this a resident request or?
Yes, ma'am.
council?
Last meeting, unfortunately, you weren't here. The Board of Works received a correspondence from a resident at Lincoln Avenue requesting the alleyway be made one way. We've reviewed that. I've reviewed that with Gary Gleason as well. We do not support the changing of that alley to a one-way alley.
Has the resident been notified?
I do not believe so. I don't have that contact information.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the engineering's recommendation and also notify the resident of that decision?
Motion to approve engineering department's recommendation and also to notify the homeowner.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item E, correspondence received from Mr. Dean Button, City Engineer, advising of the support of the request from Purdue Northwest.
Similarly, last week, Purdue safety manager, Brian Miller, requested that certain crosswalk improvements be done by the city. Happy to report that while we definitely support the request by the university, happy to report that the crosswalk has been marked on Schneider as requested by Purdue. The one at 173rd, we'd asked the street department, Public Works Department, take care of that painting. As you may be familiar, that is the 173rd crosswalk at the student union, between the student union building and the physical education building. That section of roadway is going to be reconstructed in the NDOT fiscal year, I believe it's 19, so it's another year out. So it would just be striping until that time, and we support that request.
Okay. Dean, can I ask that maybe you prepare some correspondence to
Sure.
respond to that one, to explain that whole situation?
Happy to.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve engineering's recommendation and request that they notify Purdue of that decision?
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item F, correspondence received from the Hammond Police Department approving the Bering Parkway Annual 4th of July Parade, the Mohawks Memorial Day Parade, No parking signs and barricades requested for the Live in the Ville Street Festival, closing the 1,000 block of Field Street on June 9th, 2018. Street closures for the Harley Davidson event. The request for Hammond police officer to be at an event at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church on June 9th, with street closure and the Marian pilgrimage to travel through Hammond on Saturday, August 11th, 2018.
I motion to approve the, are there disposal authorizations in there?
Chiefs.
I motion to approve the police chief's request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item G, Second Amendment to towing contract with State Auto Body, Zone 4 tower.
This is an extension of the original agreement. We're just continuing it from now until next June, so that we have time if we want to rebid the towing. But right now, the problem is we have these contracts and they expire in December, and then December 31st, everybody's off and not thinking about it. So what we've done is we've basically moved it to June, which is a time where everybody's here and thinking about it. So what we're doing is we're giving it an extension. It will be extended until next June, and then we can make a decision at a time whether what we want to do going forward. There's four zones, and 2 of the towers have turned it in, and then the other 2 towers can turn it in between now and next week.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the towing contract for State Auto Body.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item H, Second Amendment to towing contract with Herrera's Towing, Zone 1 tower. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve towing contract for Herrera's Towing.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item I, correspondence received from Fire Chief Jeff Smith requesting approval of the appointments of Eric Noto, Mitchell K. Leckrone, and Garrett B. Vast to the Hammond Fire Department.
Motion to approve the fire chief's request.
And I second.
Saying that they're going to be retroactive to June 4th. We're not
That's right.
there, or not there yet.
Okay. That's when they start.
It's
They're
been starting,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's starting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item J, emergency demo hearing for property located at 5903 Calumet Avenue.
All right, the board has the pictures. I'm sure anybody who's familiar with, which direction? I'm sorry. The property here, a car ran into it on Saturday morning, and it partially collapsed to the street. We did have to have crews out there. Right now, what the crews have done is they've stacked everything up on the sidewalk. The sidewalk is now closed, and there is a fence around it. But we did notify the owners that we needed to have a hearing today to decide what the plans were for the rest of the structure. So hopefully, I think I have somebody here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tim Kelly. I'm from Kelly Law Offices in Crown Point, Indiana, and I'm representing Yvonne Saladino, who is also present here this morning regarding the emergency order that she received. My comment to the board are simple. I believe they're direct, and I believe they're reasonable. First of all, the property in question was hit at 4 a.m. in the morning. Through no fault of the owner of the property, it is now in a damaged condition. The property is fully insured, and as we speak, there is an engineer from JDH Inc. Engineering, Stanley Park, who is inspecting the property now as we're here at this hearing. It's our position that this order of demolition is premature, given the fact that we don't know whether or not the building is repairable pursuant to its insurance coverage, or whether or not it needs to be demolished. And I would ask this board to continue this matter, to give us a complete opportunity to have the building properly evaluated by an engineering firm so that we know exactly what needs to be done, and then we can execute on that.
My concern is that, as you can see from the photographs, there is debris still blocking the sidewalk. There is no evidence being presented today that it's not going to further collapse and damage adjoining properties or fall into the street and damage, passing vehicles. The street's not closed at that location. I know it's only happened Saturday, but the insurance company has had to have a chance to get out there. They haven't removed any of the debris. So at this point in time, it's going to be an attractive nuisance for vagrants and stuff who want to start jumping over the fence and picking through things, and somebody's going to get hurt. And I would ask that the board enter an order to demolish based on the condition of the property And if there is a written and approved plan to repair or self-demolish, that can always take place, but this board doesn't meet till next Thursday again, and in the meantime, if somebody gets hurt or killed, it'll be, why didn't the city do something? The city knew there was a dangerous condition there. I mean, I drove by there this morning, there's pillows piled up, there's boxes, there's, on the other side of the chain link fence, is basically all the possessions from inside the property which are remaining there, and it is not unforeseeable that somebody would want to jump over that fence and start picking through it. As you recall, when the liquor store burned down and they had the dumpster full of the liquor barrels, there was fights in it because people from the neighborhood had jumped into it and decided to start slugging it out. So I think that right now that this poses a safety and health hazard, and we need to enter the order. If we want, we can stay it, but we should at least enter the order so in case conditions deteriorate over this 3-day weekend, if the weather turns bad, if it starts to rain, then we can at least move forward without waiting for another Thursday's hearing.
Well, with all due respect to you, ma'am, you indicated there was no evidence that the building wouldn't further collapse. I haven't heard any evidence that it will.
Right, but if it does collapse, your evidence doesn't prevent us from being sued for the people who get hurt.
That's pure speculation, and my clients would be equally as liable, if not more so, plus they're fully insured. Insurance covers not only property damage, but also liability
What are the
claims.
extent of the policy limits, though? It depends how bad somebody gets killed. If
Well,
the policy limits are $100,000, that ain't gonna do anything.
Well, I have a lot of cases where people have been seriously injured or killed where the policy limits are $25,000 for autos, and that's an unfortunate occurrence, but that's a limitation on insurance. You're speculating as to what might or could happen. This woman owns the property. She's taking reasonable efforts, given the amount of time that's expired here. Happened at 4 a.m. Saturday morning. It's Thursday. The engineers are already there.
How come now the debris
How-
has been cleaned up? Does she need it?
Well, actually, that's an interesting thing, because on the debris issue, Mrs. Saladino and her husband live in the upper level of the property. On Tuesday, somebody from the city came over and told them they had to get out and get their stuff out. So that's what that's about.
Well, contractors can pick up the debris on the sidewalk, blocking the
Well,
sidewalk.
certainly they can, but we want to get the insurance coverage that we're entitled to have the work done. Here's the other problem. If we start messing with the site, we're damaging two potential lawsuits. We're damaging, we could end up in a lawsuit with our insurance company because we've modified the property. And then what about the party that hit the building in the first place? They're also liable. And our insurance contract provides for subrogation against that individual.
I don't think cleaning up debris would damage either claim. If you clean up the debris that's blocking a public sidewalk and drawing an attractive nuisance to trespassers, how does that damage an insurance claim for somebody who drove into a building?
I drove,
President, if I may, sir, my name is Kelly Krim, Chief of Inspections. Had extensive conversations with Yvonne Saladino regarding this property. There indeed actually was a police call Tuesday morning, burglary, someone tried to get in and steal some possessions. I understand that correctly? Also, I met the insurance gentleman Tuesday also to kind of assess the situation. We do have a fear that on the north wall, there's a bay window that is protruding out, the wall is buckling. We had to extend the fence to make sure that if that falls, hopefully it falls directly down onto the sidewalk, and it would be surrounded by the fence. So we're not sure this building is done doing what it's going to do. I think entering
Can I
into the
ask,
firm.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question on this? And we do have these pictures in front of us, and I understand that the structure on the corner was the one that was hit by the vehicle and clearly shows extensive damage. And then there is there's a smaller structure, the brick structure in between. Is that part of this property here? Is that owned by,
This is actually 5905. It's
so this is
separate
owned by
building,
a separate
house.
owner?
And is not affected other than the fact that it has an adjoining wall that we're not sure how it is connected. We got inside 5905.
And I recognize the city owns a property next to that, but, okay.
That's 5907, which Saladino also owns.
In
Okay.
addition, there's property behind that property, which is like a little cottage house and a long garage. That's not part of this demolition order. The demolition order is for the part of the building that is in imminent danger of collapse.
You know,
It's
you,
not the entire corner.
hold on. You keep saying imminent danger. There's no evidence to that effect, none whatsoever. You don't have, do you have an engineer? You got a city engineer. Where is he?
Here.
He's here.
I mean, have you seen it?
Yes, sir, I have, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I'm
where-
very concerned a possible collapse. Yes, sir.
What inspections have you done?
I've done an outside observation of my review of the building from the street.
Have you-
I have not occupied the building. or
Have you
entered
done
the
any
building.
engineering calculations?
I have not.
Okay. Well, that's what we're doing right now. We're doing those engineering calculations to determine if the building is salvageable or if it needs to be demolished. And I don't understand what a 7-day delay. It says very clearly in the notice that we received for the hearing that we're entitled to come here and request a continuance under reasonable circumstances. This is reasonable circumstances. All we have so far is some speculation by city employees that there may be a problem. We're actually trying to identify exactly what the problem is if it exists. 7 days isn't going to hurt anybody.
What are the policy limits for this property should it collapse and
Do
kill
you
somebody?
know?
Offhand, no. I can get them by this afternoon.
We've already had trespassers as early as Tuesday of this week.
Go ahead.
Okay, I like to
This
say-
is the owner.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you step up to the microphone and
Sure.
state your name for us, please?
Certainly. My name is Yvonne Saladino. I own that property at 5903 Calumet that was damaged. And it appears that one of the concerns that the city officials have is that the part of the building that's facing north, where
No,
that...
no, the question to you was, did you have an intruder, somebody trying to steal your possessions?
Someone did, and from the inside, that's been boarded up. No one can get in again.
Okay.
Okay, and the engineer out there made sure that that is secure at this point so that no one can climb up the rubble and get back in. But the other concern I heard was that the side of the building with the large bay window that's facing north is protruding somewhat outward, and I have photographic proof that that's been that way since the day we purchased the property. That is not as a result of this incident. Okay? And my office is one of the rooms that was affected, and so all my records, including my huge policy for these properties, is somewhere in the rubble. But I'm sure that my insurance company will be happy to contact Selective Insurance and get me a new policy. I don't know how long it will take them to do that.
We'll get you a declaration page.
But I'm certainly, it's substantial enough to cover more than whatever 25,000 someone suggested.
No, I didn't suggest that. I just said,
Or whoever.
I've seen cases where that's happened.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I spoke with the gentleman from the insurance company. We inspected it together. I have every intention of cooperating and working with them, as he has every intention of cooperating and working with us. Entering this order to affirm only starts the process to going forward. If the insurance company is going to improve, fix, or demolish, self-demolish, our process goes away. We will work with them getting contractors licensed or whatever we need to do, as I had a discussion with them. This gets us going to where if it doesn't happen, or if it needs to happen, or if it worsens, then we are in the process of protecting the city and the people that live in the city. So affirming this order just says that, okay, we're ready to go forward, we're gonna start getting estimates of what it's gonna cost, and take the process, 7 days is 7 days, it's another week. If we affirming it now, we'll come back next Thursday with estimates of what the cost would be, and as the board well knows, the process goes forward from there, awarding the bids, accepting the bids, awarding the bids, opening the bids. It's just, why wait 7 days to affirm? Even if the insurance company wants to self-demolish or improve, why wait 7 days for another 7 days to start this process?
That's the question I have, sir. If we enter that today, we're not gonna get that done before next Thursday anyway. So, and if you find out from the engineer that it's fixable, or whatever you find out from the insurance, we just put a stay on the order at that point.
Well, and my response to that is simple. I really haven't heard anything here today by way of proof that this building is an imminent danger to the community. And I don't understand why an order of demolition has to be entered this quickly in a situation where the owner of the property is not responsible for the condition in the first place. It was the driver of the vehicle who ran into our building at 4 a.m. in the morning. I would suggest to you that 7-day delay before we consider whether or not an order of demolition has to be entered, when we don't even know if the building has to be demolished,
Well,
is
sir,
premature.
I think part of the issue that we have, and we certainly feel some sympathy for the situation here, no fault of her own, a vehicle crashed through it, and luckily, she's in a position where she's still standing today. And it very well may be that once the engineers get in there, they may establish that the building is salvageable and that it could be repaired. However, at this point, there's a building that is fully exposed to the public. And we have a member of our police department and our fire department sitting before you, and I think they both can speak to the many instances when we've had this condition in the city that has created a nuisance for the residents, created a safety hazard for children, for vagrants, for, weather conditions. We could have a heavy rain and that next floor could collapse over the weekend. It's not our intent to go out there with a bulldozer today.
Well, you can't, and I could take an appeal to the circuit or the Superior Court if I had to, but why subject this poor woman to additional thousands of dollars in expense for a condition that she didn't cause? I'm just mystified about why 7 days is so important. And again, I keep hearing you just said, well, we could have a heavy rain and the second floor could collapse. That's pure speculation. That's not evidence. That's not proof.
And once
What is it about that building that is different than any other building that is damaged in the city? I don't understand.
There's nothing
It's
different.
missing
We
a
do this
wall.
We do this with every other single. If it was a fire that wasn't her fault, we would do the exact same thing, because if this building collapses and kills somebody, the city of Hammond will be responsible because we knew about the condition, we are aware of the burglary attempts on it, we are aware of the fact that there's debris blocking the sidewalk, we are aware of the fact that it could collapse from our engineer looking at it, and the city will be liable. And I do not know what her policy limits are. She does not know what her policy limits are, and she is not in the position to indemnify us, nor is the driver of the car if something catastrophic should happen. We have to act in the interest of public safety, not in the interest of the
I'm going to
property
have you
owner.
speak.
It may be salvageable, and it may not be salvageable. And if he wishes to take an appeal, that is his right, but at least we have acted in the interest of public safety.
Yeah, hold- you-
Gentleman assured me that he will share the engineer's report as soon as is possible. They were getting the engineer.
They're there now. They're there right now.
Wonderful. And then I stressed to them exactly what the steps we would take and how important it is to get that engineer report as soon as possible. Certainly share it with Mr. Button so we can review it, and whatever decision they make, we will abide by. If they want to fix the building, then we'll get contractors give them a list of licensed contractors that will be able to do such. If they want to demolish, self-demolish, we'll give them a list of licensed contractors that can do that demolition. But in the process, we have to protect the people of the city of Hammond, and this is certainly a danger. If it's imminent or not, we have got a situation that is unsafe.
Well, if it's not imminent, it's not a danger. But more importantly, Mrs. Saladino would like to comment on the accessibility issue, because it's her position that it isn't accessible.
It is not accessible to the public unless they choose to climb over the temporary fence that the city had put up, the temporary construction fence. They climbed over that and had to climb over the debris to risk their own life to do so, to try to rob whatever they thought might have been in there, which is not a lot, because we have been in the process, so long as we have daylight, hacking and moving. We are wanting to get out. It doesn't matter to us whether the insurance decides to rebuild or demo. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter much when. But I'd like to have I used to run a shop there. I have a lot of things. I would like the opportunity, and 7 days may just cut it. I don't know. But to be so rigid with me, and I'm certain that this engineer is going to say that the back half of this property is very solid. Even if we have, short of a tornado, in my opinion, and I'm not a weather person, but I'm just saying, I just would like the opportunity to get my items out. Give me a couple of days before you folks make this kind of a decision.
Well, am I correct in understanding that, I know that we had referenced, the Attorney Kelly had referenced the fine that would be imposed. And am I correct in understanding that is only if we determined it was a violation, that she would have, the order, affirming the order today requires that it be demolished within 7 days, but and that at what point would trigger a fine if that did not happen? So if we were to affirm the order today and stay the order until next week to get a status hearing, meaning that there would be no action taken towards any fines or violations for you at that point. Allow us to affirm the order, to have it entered, so in the event of some emergency situation where it started to collapse and crumble more, we would have the process started. Otherwise, we would stay, give you some time, and meet in front of us again next week to discuss the progress of the situation.
The only question that I have about that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Keller.
I'm uncomfortable with that only because as I read the notice from your attorney, if it's not done within 7 days, the fines automatically kick in unless we take an appeal to the Superior of the Circuit Court, if we've been aggrieved by your ruling. But I could settle for this. If you want to enter your demolition order and stay it,
That is exactly what I said.
then I could live with that, and then the stay would have to be lifted before such time as this fine situation would kick in, or we would be required
The city's
to.
not seeking fines. We never seek fines. That's just part of the statute which we put in there because it is part of the statute. We have to put people on notice.
I think,
Well, but
I
I'm
think
not
that's
gonna-
a fair compromise, that it allows the city to act in a situation that we started this process, if we see no progress by the time that we get before us again next week on Thursday. I think that by entering the order, and we will stay it for a status hearing next week, what is the date next week?
31st.
The 31st. Hopefully, we have some progress in front of us by that time. If we do not have any information that assists us in preventing this from becoming a larger safety hazard to the community,
I understand.
we're going to move
I have
forward.
one question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
In the event of a catastrophic situation where we had a huge rain for 2 days and there was an emergency, if I get the insurance company to write you a letter saying that they would be in an emergency position to come and do that, really don't want the city giving me this huge bill for having this done. I'd like my own insurance company to handle it.
Well, there is already, the state statute says that they have to give us 10% of the proceeds because the city has already expended funds to accomplish what was accomplished over the
Yeah,
weekend.
I'm aware of
So
that.
there is a 10% setback that's required by Indiana code
For what was currently done,
for what was currently done.
which is why I don't want any more done.
No, but I would just add, if something would happen between now and May 31st of next week, and it's an emergency to us or to PD or to any other city department, we're gonna do what we have to make that scene safe
Okay,
to the public until we're able to move on.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
There'll clearly be some notification of that, if it were to occur, and hopefully it does not. Do I have a motion to enter the order and stay it until May 31st?
At which time we'll return here for a status hearing on.
Yes.
Yes.
In the meantime, we'll try to get you the insurance information.
Any information that you have available, I recommend that you get it over to our law department as quickly as possible so that we can move through this process and hopefully have some good information when we meet again.
Are you looking for the entire policy?
No, I'll handle that. I know what they're after.
Do I have a second?
I second, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item K, notice of violation hearing on property located at 227 Chicago Street.
Hey, Marcus, here's the picture. All right, thank you. All we're trying to do today is vacate and seal, because right now it's gas leak, electrical, you can look at it.
everything's shut off,
And environmental.
Right.
That's, it's not a demo.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That gives you everything. I already talked to Scott.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. After we were notified about an emergency situation at this commercial property located at 227 Chicago Street, this is a auto recycling center, Mickey's. Subsequently, the initial discovery of contaminated rain and water runoff from the property was being directed into city stormwater drains. Subsequently, after further investigation with the adjoining departments of sanitation, environmental, and the water department, further and more significant violations and concerns were discovered at the property. I provided photos as well as a brief summary of the discoveries at the property, which prompted the disconnect of the electric, water, and gas service due to various leaks and compromises in the systems. Our main concern, obviously, at this point is the contamination, which is the potential and has runoff to adjoining residential properties, adjoining commercial commercial properties and city right-of-ways. So subsequently, due to a gas leak, NIPSO came and disconnected the gas. There's some major electrical violations and concerns of the properties, including extension cords being used as permanent source of electricity, ran and laid through standing water, open, exposed electrical junction boxes, electrical panels. So therefore, the electrical service was disconnected. Water department noted that there had been a service line leak for the last 2 years, which has gone unaddressed, which is contributing to the excess water on the property and runoff, and just basically the overall condition and maintenance of this property. Our concern is that it's creating a safety and health hazard for the surrounding residents and community. So at this point, the city is requesting that operations be suspended and the owners notified of what needs to take place to clean up the property.
Just for clarification, this is not a demolition, this is, we're going to seal and vacate the area. Because right now, there's gas, electric, environmental, I don't know, and other, whatever
Novak
else.
from the environmental department also noted that any material or equipment that was being sought to be removed from the site, suggests it has to be cleaned and decontaminated to prevent transporting the contamination further outside of the affected area as of right now. Any contractors that are going to give estimates or start the repairs should be hazmat certified. And the first step he suggested would be that they get a vacuum truck to remove the contaminated pools of water from the property to prevent any additional runoff or contamination of the surrounding area.
Okay.
That's item has a separate action.
Correct.
We're mostly concerned about the gas and electric. There was a gas leak, the water line is cracked, that was the third thing. And the electrical panels are all open and there's standing water on the floor, so it's an electrocution hazard. So we just want the property sealed and vacated, and that's what the order will reflect until such time as it's brought into compliance. And sanitary line. Sewage, gas, electric, water.
Sir, would you like to state your name for us today?
Attorney Marco Molina here on behalf of the property owner, Lou Ayala Trust. And Mr. Ayala doesn't have a problem with, basically, he's been shut down, and he is ready to fix things as soon as he can, understanding he can't do anything till the city lets him know exactly what they want done, and it'll be sealed off. The only, and in fact, he had Tierra Environmental out to suck up the excess water. They've taken some water samples also, and obviously he'll comply with whatever IDEM requirements there are. The only request that he had, he's got 15 employees who will be out of work, and in the meantime, and that's not, he'll deal with that, and they'll deal with that. But this is basically auto recycling, taking vehicles, crush them up, split them apart, and take them out. Because there's no electric, there's no way to secure the property, there's no alarm that can be out there. So he has some things that are accessible that he's concerned could be easy picking for people, basically. And he's just requesting if he can take those things out that are easily accessible by people, not open for business, but just remove that.
I think the only concern that was stated previously from our environmental department would be cleaning up anything that left the premises so that it didn't contaminate further areas. Have we begun that process at all? Is anyone aware?
That process has not begun, but if they want to be able to arm their alarm system, I don't have a problem if we get a licensed electrician to go out and we can isolate that electrical need, but the rest is just too unsafe to have everything live. They get an electrician, work with our electrical inspectors. I actually already mentioned this situation as far as to get some electric to the building, to a safe portion of the building, to arm the alarm system. I don't have a problem with that at all.
And I'm not certain what process would move quicker, whether it would be to get that section of the property alarmed, or if it would be easy enough to get those items cleaned before removing them from the premises. But I think that we would be open to allowing him to do either option as long as it's done in compliance with environmental standards.
And I think the only issue, or question I have, not issue, is there's environmental allegations, but I don't know what that is. I mean, I know they're just cars. I mean, they're crushed down. I don't know what contaminants would be in a car that's above. It's not like they're buried or anything. They're above ground.
So the concern is, as in detail in the photos, which I also gave him a copy of.
Right.
There are requirements when draining the petroleum products from the vehicle, gasoline, oil, antifreeze. You're required to have vapor recovery system as well when you open these systems up. The current process in place is the vehicle is placed by a forklift on 2 I-beams stretched across, and then 5-gallon buckets are placed underneath it, and the valves are open. So that's the current drainage system that's in place. The ground has oil, gasoline, which was visible by the sheen sitting on top of the ground, as well as the odor as you approach and get close to. The sheen and the contamination in the standing water that's on the property was highly visible. So we're fully aware and feel that, you know, those elements and petroleum products are being dropped, dumped, or left on site. The main issue here is there's no there's no like solid surface at the property. It's rock, gravel, and dirt. So containing it is an issue. There's no oil-water separation system installed, which would be required to eliminate and separate the contamination from rainwater or runoff. And then subsequently, when we're cleaning up whatever's going to be leaving, it might be difficult because there's no solid surface.
That sounds like it's going to be a bit longer
Yeah.
process than having the alarm
I mean, I just-
reconnected.
For everyone's knowledge, Mr. Novak from HDM is required that anything that leaves there be cleaned and that water be contained and disposed of properly, so we're not just putting more water into the ground as these vehicles that are leaving and vehicles that are picking them up and moving them. That water has to be contained and disposed of properly. It just can't be put back onto the ground. You just can't take a power washer, wash it off, let it get back to the ground. We're just adding to the situation. That water would have to be contained either in Vector or some system contained and disposed of properly.
Do we have the ability to essentially alarm an area safely that would protect the owner's assets?
That's exactly why we're asking for contractors that have hazmat experience. Let's put them on something that would be able to contain this water and back it up, just like a sewer back. Where would they take it to dispose of it? I have no idea.
In reference to your earlier comment about allowing them to activate enough electricity to a sense.
Yeah, I think we can do that safely.
Secure the area.
I
We think
we can do
that would-
safely, depending on where the alarm system's at and what the electrical situation is around that.
Sure.
So I think the contractor, along with the electrical inspector, should be able to work that situation.
Okay.
I think that would be much easier than trying to decontaminate whatever material they're looking to transport off the property this time, just due to the severity of, and the widespread, I mean, it's pretty much throughout the entire property, which is why there was a, basically a path dug out to direct the water to the stormwater system. So,
Sanitary line.
yeah, well, yeah, that's it.
An extreme
I mean, it's
situation.
a handful of items here that are contributing to the issue that, but it'd probably be easier for him to get an electrician to get a dedicated service line to supply the alarm for the property, and then he can work with the contractors to start the cleanup process, eliminating the debris from the property, and then ultimately, he'll have to work with IDEM and HDEM to do a phase cleanup at the location. So we just requested the board affirm the approval to seal and enclose the property with the exception of having an electrician provide service for an alarm at the location for the owner's protection.
And I would ask if the board would consider adding that, allowing him to remove it, provided that he does it under the requirement, just because this may be a long-term shutdown while he's fixing it up, and if there's stuff that's ready to sell and they need to pay for the upcoming repairs, it may be cost prohibitive to do it the way that needs to be done, but at least if he has the option to do that, I would request if the court would consider, or if the board would consider that.
Yeah, as long as the owner would be willing to provide invoices or documentation proving that a certified company has decontaminated the material leaving the property, and then subsequently showing that it was disposed of properly, I don't see that being
I'd
an
also like to add, per Mr. Novak's approval.
Do we need to set this for a status hearing? Do you want to follow it for a bit? What's the preference?
Yeah.
It's going to take that to get everything on the website.
Citation.
30 days. We get a continuous status, 30 days. I think we'll see whatever movement we have at that point, and hopefully we'll have some paperwork from IDEM, and whatever contractors are in place to do whatever's necessary. It's gonna be an involved process.
Do I have a motion to affirm the order to seal and enclose the property with the allowance of an alarm company to gain access to secure the property and also to allow the owner to remove any decontaminated property so long as it's been approved by our inspections department and environmental department with a hearing set for?
It's good.
What date?
Oh, the 30 days out.
I was mystified, that sounded so good. June 21st or June 28th?
28.
June 28th, 2018.
So moved on the motion.
And I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item L, rental registration hearing on property located at 4033 Torrance. Is the property owner present? 4033 Torrance.
Good morning. I'm not sure if the property owner will be present. He has a current address in Austin, Texas. He purchased the property in July of 2017. I did speak with the tenant there, and she said she signed a lease in September of 2017. This is one unit. He did register for 2018, so we're looking for rental for 2017. And I guess it's up to the
And
board.
it was registered timely in 18?
It was registered timely in 18, and this is when he was given the appeal for 2017.
And, so you said he bought it in July 17?
He bought it, correct, he bought it in July of 17. Tenant has been in there since September of 17.
Okay. 2018's good.
Yes.
All right, waive the late fee for 2017, but he will need to register and pay $5 for 2017.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Item M, rental registration hearing on property located at 1114 Summer Street. Property owner present?
Okay. This is another situation, registered in 18, this is a one unit, owes for 2017. Per water, we show usage of 5,000 gallons in November of 17, so we see that there is a tenant in there last year. So this is a one unit, owes for 2017.
Did they also receive the appeal notification at the 18 registration?
Yeah, they did register for 2018. They also have a property management company, Reader Property Management.
That's all the history you have on the property with
That's
the
it.
owners?
Yes,
So they're good for 18, lacking in 17?
correct.
Okay, waive the late fee, $5 registration fee for 2017.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item N, rental registration hearing on property located at 4315 Clark. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a property owned by Mr. Nicholas Mendoza?
Yes,
correct?
I am.
Okay. Every year, we have a address for Mr. Mendoza at 640 Overton Street in Marseille,
Correct.
Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay. Every year, he has registered this and filed an affidavit stating that his daughter has lived in this property. What we don't have, though, is affidavit for 2017 or any rental registration in 2017.
So is this a two-unit property?
This is
or
a one.
One unit, but it's been occupied by
It's been, right,
his daughter?
previous to 2017, we have affidavits on file showing that his daughter lived there. At 17, we have no paperwork, no rental registration, no affidavit.
What about
showing-
18?
18, he did register under a new tenant.
In 2017, did you have a tenant in this building? or was the daughter living?
I'm Veronica Mendoza. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I was living there, and for personal reasons, I forgot to bring him the paper to fill out. So it's actually my fault because it just skipped my mind to.
And when did you get a tenant renting the property?
Barely this year.
Early
May,
this year?
yes.
Okay. Any issues?
So we need an affidavit on file for 2017?
We do not have an affidavit.
You need
We
one.
need.
We need one.
All right, I motion to waive the late fee for 2017, but you will need to fill out an affidavit for 2017 stating that you're the one that lived there.
Okay,
I second.
thank you.
All those in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you. If you'd like to wait, ma'am, you can handle that today after this meeting. Okay, thank you. What was that one, clerk? Item O, rental registration hearing on property located at 1431 175th Street. Is the property owner present?
This is a long, drawn-out research of this property. We have it as a new owner purchased it in 2017. Are you, Mr. Rodriguez? Yes. Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, we have on file that he purchased it in 2017. He did register for 2018, so initially we were looking for just 2017 rental. Per water, Mr. Rodriguez signed up for service at this property in 2006. So he has, according to water, he has had this property since 2006, and over the years, changed billing addresses from 5423 South Hammond, Chicago, to the service address. According to the assessor's site, in 2006, began different changing of hands of ownership, from Gin Development to Caruso Construction, back to Octavio Rodriguez. So per water, this whole time since 2006 to current, it's been under Mr. Rodriguez's name. ¿Debe usted 2006? Can you explain to him that he's had water in this house since 2006 up till current? So his name has been on this, so he's owned the property since 2006.
No, estaba el nombre, el agua mía, el nombre mío, porque yo vivía allí. Pero esta casa yo la compré apenas aquí.
He said that the property, he just bought it, but the only thing under his name was the water.
Can you explain to them?
Okay. He's saying that he just purchased the house July 31st of 2017, but that the water was under his name
Porque yo vivía allí.
because he used to live there.
Who owned it prior to 2017 when he purchased it?
¿Quién era dueño de la propiedad?
Ruso.
Este de aquí?
Ajá.
Ventura Capital?
Ajá.
Those are the previous owners.
Okay, so what we have is, we also, as I explained, bills, service bills were changed hands between his name and address. So in 2011, the service bills were changed to 5423 Hammond, Chicago, Illinois, which is Mr. Rodriguez's address. So if he's stating that he just barely purchased the property in 2017, he's lying.
Ellos tienen pruebas de biles que están con su nombre de usted. ¿Cómo puede decir que usted acaba de comprar la propiedad si ya tienen biles ellos con su nombre desde antes de esa fecha?
Sí, porque yo vivía allí antes.
Okay, entonces, he's saying that he was living there.
We can do that. We can do that.
I think what, in light of this situation. Clearly, there's some confusion happening here about where he was located, and Mr. Rodriguez requires the need of a translator. I think maybe we should set this for status at a future date, make sure that we do have someone here who has this all spelled out for him so that we can understand the situation maybe a little more clearly.
I can interpret for him, but I don't think it's going to get anywhere.
Okay.
As far as our stance, you know, as compared to his stance. So if you want to give him time to get a translator in here, that's fine.
Okay, and then maybe at that point, we can have something spelled out for us with the different dates and the ownership changes and,
Yeah, we're going to need to see his paperwork, so he's going to
Okay.
need to go through his paperwork and find out
Is this a
exactly
single-family home?
when he purchased it and all these things happened.
so, 2 weeks, does that give you adequate time to,
It's fine for me.
Aquí está. que la com-
Apparently, he says this is proof of when he purchased the place.
what does he have in front of him?
¿Puede venir en 2 semanas? Yo quiero hablar con usted, ¿ok? ¿Puede venir en 2 semanas? Ok, hablo con usted después. I told him that I would speak to him after this meeting and to come back in 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll give him the opportunity to figure out what's going on here, okay? So we have a motion to set for hearing on June 7th.
Okay.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wow. 16,
Okay, and we are on item P, rental registration hearing located at 6921 Alabama Avenue. Is the property owner present?
Okay, this property is owned by Mr. Manuel Rodriguez, correct?
Yes, sir.
We have Mr. Rodriguez's address as 924 Tiller Drive in Valparaiso.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez has lived in Valparaiso since 2012. He purchased the property 6921 Alabama in 2011. He also has another rental on 7452 Lagoon that has been registered. So he knows the process of registering in the city. Property in question, 6921 Alabama, has not been registered since 2012. So 2012 to 2017, we're looking for. He did register in 2018.
That is correct, yes. I actually, the property that I'm renting now at 7452 Magoon Avenue is my previous home. I knew that I had to register that. I wasn't aware, my wife and I actually purchased 6921 for my daughter, which she lived there until last year. And instead of selling the house, we decided to rent it, so I knew that I had to register it. So when I came in to register it, they were like, why didn't you register before? And I wasn't aware that I had to put an affidavit in. So that's why we're here.
Is it one unit?
It is a one unit.
My daughter would actually probably still be living there. She graduated from Purdue Cal last year, so she got a good opportunity up in Wisconsin, so her and her fiance moved up to Wisconsin and purchased a house up there.
So she lived there for how long?
5 years, apparently?
Yes. Well, no, the whole time.
Okay, since 2011.
Yes.
He purchased the property.
Until he came to register in 18 for a tenant. Do you have any issues with this property?
No issues. No evidence showing that his daughter moved there. No affidavits on file.
I mean, I can get an affidavit if you.
What kind of water usage? You
It's
need it?
consistent
Oh.
usage.
Like someone's there?
Correct.
You said he registered in 2012, but not 2011?
That was for my the house I
That
previously
was the
lived in.
previous house on Magoon.
Okay.
His previous.
Right, when I moved to Valparaiso, decided to rent that house instead of selling it, so I went ahead and registered that property. And I wasn't aware that I had to submit an affidavit for the other one, because my daughter was actually living there. And like I mentioned previously, we probably would have just willed her the property, but she moved to Wisconsin, so we decided to put it into a trust and rent it. And we rented it February of this year.
Okay, I'm gonna, motion to waive the late fee, but you're gonna have to fill out an affidavit, or your daughter is, for each year that she lived
Yes, sir.
there. And it's gonna have to be put on file with these gentlemen from code enforcement.
Yes, sir, no problem.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item Q, rental registration hearing a property located at 5438 Molesberger Place, rear unit. Is the property owner present? Good morning.
Sutphin? Okay, we have the owner as Ms. Nina Sutphin. There are two homes on this property. Throughout the years, Ms. Sutphin has been occupying the front. The rear is in question. Previous years, she has had affidavits on file stating that her grandson was living there, except for 2016 and 2017. So we are here for rental registration for 2016, 2017. She did register for 2018.
Was it registered as a rental, or is it the affidavit that there's?
There were affidavits on file saying that her grandson was living there prior to 2016.
And what was it in 18?
18, it's a new renter.
New renter, okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you give us your name, please?
Yes, Dina Sutphin. And my grandson was there part of the time. And then he worked on the railroad, so he's out of town. More or less, his things are stored there, you know, because like he was in Canada for 6 months at one time. And then I went through surgeries, and he was there to help me at that time. I wasn't aware, the years that it was empty, that I was to pay for that. I don't remember the year exactly.
Ma'am, so you said that he was there part of the time. I understand he was gone for his work.
Yes.
And in 2018, you registered that you have someone actually renting the unit?
Yes, I do have someone renting. And I come in, and I told the lady downstairs that I wouldn't be renting. And she says, well, pay for this year. I paid that. I didn't understand really what I was doing, and I wasn't well at the time I come in. But now I believe it's in my train of thought.
So somebody is renting the unit now? Someone's paying you to stay there now?
Yes, he rented on the 4th.
Okay.
And he's been working on it because it was empty. And now he moved in the first part of this month.
This month. So nobody has paid you rent to live there prior to this month?
No.
Okay.
In 2016, 17, which are the 2 years that we're talking about, your son was not there at all, or he was there?
He was there just part of the time. He's not paying rent. He was just there.
Okay. We're going to waive the late fee, but you will have to have affidavits on file with code enforcement for those 2 years stipulating that your son at different times resided there.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Ma'am, if you'd like to stay after the meeting, we can help you get that taken care of today, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Item R, rental registration hearing on property located at 7115 Beach Avenue. You have a property owner present?
This is one unit owned by Mr. Pablo Herrera.
That's my uncle, but he passed, and this is his wife.
Okay. We're just looking for a rental registration for 2017. It was registered for 2018 as well as before 2017. So we're just looking for a rental for 17.
Good morning, can you state your name for us today, sir?
I'm Giovanni Herrera, and the reason we didn't do that because my uncle Pablo, he was the one that always told my dad about it, and he recently passed, and she knew nothing about any of that stuff, and she didn't know that she got it, and that's why we couldn't do it last year.
So it's in 2017, there was someone actually renting the unit?
Yeah, we live there, and we've
Okay.
been there for quite a while now.
Okay.
Okay, I motion to waive the late fee, but you will have to register the unit for 2017 at a cost of $5.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And again, if you'd like to stay, you can take care of that today. It does need to be registered every year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item S, order to rescind orders to demolish property at 1527 River Drive North.
If you, oops, somebody left their envelope, I don't know if they need that. If you recall, this was the long-running saga with this property. It has finally passed repairs. It's made all of its repairs. It's passed inspection. I'm asking you to rescind the order and return. The woman had posted a cash bond of $10,000. I'm asking that the cash bond be released to her.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to rescind the order to demolish the property as well as forfeit back the $10,000 to the owner.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was a long time.
Item T, agreement to rehabilitate property located at 7234 Jarneke.
Oh, this is a property, if you will recall, this was the property that was owned by one fellow named Callahan, and he sold it to another fellow named Callahan, no relation, who was going to fix up the property. This is one where we had a bunch of squatters living there, stealing power. It was quite a disaster, and so we put it on the demolition list, but now we have a new owner who's going to rehab it. So don't let the name fool you, it's a different person.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agreement to rehabilitate the property.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item U, correspondence received requesting rental registration hearings. Would like to set these.
June 28th. A motion to set these over till June 28th.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item V, correspondence received from Mr. Gary Gleason, Director of Public Works, advising residential parking only signs will be placed on Alabama Avenue and 170th Street due to businesses on Kennedy Avenue. Are these being placed on a trial basis, or have they gone through that process already? Is anyone aware?
Signs will be placed.
Why don't we do it as a trial basis for the 90 days, because then we'll have to follow it up with an ordinance if they want to do it permanently.
Okay. Do I have a motion approving Mr. Gleason's request on a trial basis?
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item W, correspondence received from Mr. Gary Gleason advising Public Works has no objection for 2 signs advertising the Hammond Mayor's Cup Annual 3-on-3 soccer tournament to be displayed in this city. Did this come from the mayor's office? No.
No, it came up last week, though. It was on our agenda last week, was it not? Yeah, because or 2 weeks ago, because it was on the agenda.
If it's not gone to the mayor's office for review, I would recommend that we make a motion to approve, subject to that approval.
All right, motion is we approve the request subject to the mayor's office review.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item X, correspondence received from Mr. Gary Gleason advising a deaf child on block sign will be placed at 2454 Birch Avenue. And Chris walked out.
Notice came up last week.
Does it need a trial?
Don't know that one.
I think it'd have to, right?
And we don't have information on whether or not this has yet gone through the trial period. I'm not certain that it requires one, but I will entertain a motion to approve, subject to any trial period that is necessary.
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item Y, correspondence received from 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos requesting $350,000 of 2019 gaming funds be allocated for the Hessville Park Improvement Project. This has been signed by the mayor.
Motion to approve the councilman's request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item Z, correspondence received from 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos requesting $150,000 of 2018 gaming funds be allocated for park improvements in the 6th District. Again, has been approved by the mayor.
Motion to approve the councilman's request.
And I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item AA, correspondence received from Mr. Rodrigo Miramontes requesting street closure of Hoffman Street from 148th Street to the alley of 149th Street for a birthday party on June 2nd, 2018, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
that correct? Because they're streets, they run east and west.
His letter says he lives at 1024 Hoffman and
And runs east and
alley of 149th, the time of the party, from 148th to our alley of 149th.
I'm confused because Hoffman runs parallel to 148th and 149th.
No, Hoffman's east and west. 140.
Yeah, and and so are the streets. All streets
Oh,
run
that's
east and west.
147.
I wonder if that's, was it?
Yeah, we need more
We
explanation.
need clarification on that one.
We do.
Do you like us to refer this to Streets and Engineering?
Well, we need to know what, we need clarification.
Okay.
I mean, you need clarification, right, as a board?
Yeah,
Whatever
I think
you'd
closing
like,
Hoffman,
whatever
I
you'd
think
like to
that's an
do.
issue with the street construction that's going on all around with the bridge being closed and whatnot. That's,
Hoffman's parallel to 148th
Right,
and 149th, so what street are we closing? Do you mind if I read?
Yeah.
Can we hold this until we?
maybe it is just the alley, that would be fine.
Yeah, well, I think
Okay.
that's what he's saying, but, okay.
So
We
we'll
will
set
come
this
back
over?
to that item.
Okay.
All right, item BB, request for replacement of jump hoses, Mr. Danny Hyatt. Jump houses, sorry,
Is he here?
on public right-of-way.
He's not here? Oh, this is a picture of it right here. This come up last week.
Okay.
They want to set him in
It
this
looks like they
green
wanted
space.
some additional information and asked that that he appear before the board.
Parkway North, wasn't it?
Has anyone had any communication with him, or we just have a picture?
Well, this is my picture. I went
Oh,
out there. This is my picture.
That's all city property.
Well, and the power lines and things are just right above it. That's what I don't like.
And when was he requesting?
I think it was Saturday, right? This Saturday.
Mr. Hyatt is not present? Okay, no. I think without the additional information requested by the board, we are unable to approve the request.
Motion to deny the request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item CC, correspondence received from the East Side Community Council requesting permission to hold a Hammond Day Parade on Saturday, June 30th with route. Is this a new one?
Most likely, well, okay, well, it's gonna be going to you guys and,
Yeah.
okay. I motion to approve the parade request with the approval of the police department as well as streets.
And I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item DD, correspondence received from the Schererville Park Department requesting a police escort through Hammond Friday, June 22nd, beginning at 6:45 a.m. on Goslin Street and concluding at the Erie-Lackawanna Bicycle Trail.
That's an annual event also, and EMA will cover that.
What is it?
Pat's Pedaling 100
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a
bike ride?
fundraiser. They start off way up in Chicago, and they
Right.
come back to Schererville, but they come down our bike path, and part of it, that we're picking them up there at Goslin, Sheffield, to get them over to the bike path.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to send it to anybody?
If
He's already over.
You're aware of it, everything's fine? Oh, okay.
All right, motion to approve the request from the Schererville Park Department.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item EE, correspondence received from the Hammond Historical Society requesting special event parking signs and emergency management to provide traffic control during the Oak Hill Cemetery Walking Tour, Sunday, October 7th, 2018, from noon to 4 p.m. They are
Good morning.
ahead of the game today. Good morning.
Yeah, really, hi. Yes, this is we would like to request to work with Gary Gleason and Don Kalina for special event parking signs prior to the event around Elmwood Cemetery, only just because there are cars that are parked there a lot of times on Kenwood that we would like to have out of the way for that Sunday. And also, we would like to have the emergency management traffic control on that Sunday. We are expecting a good crowd. Last year, we had about 150, 200 cars. Now, what they do, though, is they don't come and stay. It's a walking tour. Each tour lasts about 45 minutes. As they come in and check in and pay, we take 15 to 20 people, take them on a tour, lasts about 45 minutes, another tour behind them. Then, of course, then the first tour leaves, more people are coming. So it's a come and go kind of thing. Last year, we did have the emergency management set up to do that because the prior year they were there. But last year, George Shropshire was contacted, and he did not come. He did not send anybody, and we had a total mess because we had people trying to park, trying to do everything. So I'd like to work with the police department, with Don, and with Gary Gleason to get some signs up and to get the traffic control for that particular day, that particular time only, between noon and 4 o'clock on this particular Sunday.
Is there parking in the cemetery?
No. During the tour,
So it's all on Kenwood,
It's-
on the south side of Kenwood Street?
right, that and Holman but like I said, a lot of the people, it's not like people come all at the one time. There's a lot of, the majority come at the beginning.
Where would they park at on Holman?
Well, not really, but I mean, if anything would happen, they kind of just park further on down Kenwood,
Oh, I got you.
you know, because the whole thing is kind of stuck right there. But again, because the first people that are parking there leave as more people come, then of course it's going to open up the slots on Kenwood.
Oh, of course.
But we do have to have traffic control. That's what we're looking for. And also to have some special event parking signs put up prior to the event, because there is an apartment building over there, and some of them park on Kenwood there, right next to the cemetery.
Do you have the signs already, or are you requesting that they assist you in getting event parking signs as well?
No, I want to get with Gary Gleason or however we have to do that to get that done. And those would only be put up, say, 3 or 4 days or whatever he would request a week before, so that people are advised that they can't park there on that Sunday, that we're just going to use those spots on Kenwood for that time frame on Sunday, then they can have their parking back.
Just on the south side of Kenwood, or both sides?
We also park on the north side of Kenwood where there are houses over there.
Right.
And we are have a good relationship with the people that live at 225, which is that White House right there. And they've got some property there. They've always let us park there. And they're always aware of what's going on. But like I said, last year, because we had no traffic control, then people didn't know what was going on, and people were coming and going and stuff, and that's what we want to avoid this year.
What about Kenwood east of Holman?
That's possible. I mean, we could do that if that would warrant, we'd have to go over there. But again, the traffic control at Holman and Kenwood is what we would need, just for these couple hours on that Sunday.
I'm just a little confused as where's the parking taking place? On what side of Holman Avenue, the special event parking?
Okay,
I just assumed-
literally, we're not going to have any parking on Holman. It's all going to be on Kenwood, north and south, and all the way down to Lyman,
Okay, I got you.
okay?
Do I have a motion to refer this to the EMA and Street Department for review and recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have
Thank you.
one more while I have your attention also on Southmore Road. We've got a police issue. At the end of Southmore, down by Lyman, where the bike path is, we do have no bike trail parking signs up down Lyman and on Southmore. The last 3 houses on Southmore, which is right where Lyman meets with the trail, people are parking there. They're ignoring the signs. and it's residential, that's why we had all the signs put up. Some of the residents have gone out and gone up to the people who have parked there and said, this is no parking. Can't you read the signs? But obviously, they're not reading the signs. Now, we do have good police patrol, and Sergeant Muta is real good about it, and sometimes the police sit at that dead end there to deter traffic. But a lot of the times, there are cars parked there that even park on the grass. They park in between the signs and say, well, there's no sign right here. So I was wondering if there's anything that we can do to maybe put up a few more signs in that particular area. There's 2 right now, but they seem to be not facing the part where people are parking. So it's like, well, I'm parking here and the sign's way back there. Does that mean that I can't park here? So it's a situation, it's an ongoing situation that we're having. Also, the people that live, the last 3 houses, the residents, do park on the street. So it's not like, you know, the cops can come up and just say, hey, this is an illegal parked car. If this is a resident's car, it's his car. But if it's not, then, so we've got a situation that I'd like to discuss with the police department to see if we can do anything to alleviate this illegal parking when there's parking signs that say do not park here for bike trail parking. And that's what they're doing. They get out and they just walk up and down the bike trail.
Can I and Gary Gleason go out and look at it and see what we can do?
I have a motion to refer the situation to the Police and Street Department for a review and recommendation.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. So moved.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item, where are we at now? FF, garage sale permit submitted for approval. Oh, well, there.
Oh, geez.
Not as bad as I thought it was.
Let's see. Sorry, let me throw them at you. Oh, good weekend. It's gonna be raining both days. 1 day, 2 rains.
This is 2 days, is that okay?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's max.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the garage sale permits.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. And we will return to item AA, correspondence received from Mr. Rodrigo Miramontes requesting street closure. Have we determined what that is?
It's unclear. We
It's-
will have to visit. There's no contact information for the resident, so we will have to visit the resident and determine specifically what they're asking for.
Do we know whether that, did they come in and fill that out?
June 2nd.
They did, okay.
So we'll have to make a resident visit. We suspect it's Hickory. They want Hickory closed between Hoffman and 100 and, well, and the alley south of Hoffman. I think that's what but it's not clear based upon what's been written here. So we'll have to ask that you defer action at this time, or whatever appropriate.
No.
Defer means it's
Send
got to come
someone
back,
out. We're going
right?
to send, so are you volunteering to go out there?
Yes, we
See?
will, someone from the engineering will go out there on behalf of the law
Set
department.
over till, what, the 31st? Next Thursday?
Next week? Is that enough time?
What's the
Dean?
date
Yeah,
there?
it's June 2nd,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
asking.
All right. So do I have a motion to refer to engineering for further contact and to have a status on May 31st?
May 31st. So moved.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 6, matters from other board members. Do we have anything today?
Nothing.
Matters from other department heads or their representatives?
Attorney Cantar brought down the findings and orders for 5903 Calumet. Would like you to sign it, and so Lincoln bring it back up to her, please.
Okay. Any other matters from other department heads? Any new business? Old business? Do you have new business? No. The meeting's open to the public. Does anyone wish to speak today? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.